What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Loyal and Assertive Podcast. My name is Jay.
I'm Megan.
And as you can see, we have some special guests here with us today. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You go right ahead.
I'm Raya.
And I'm Brandon.
That's all y'all going to say?
And you're watching.
Right.
I heard it too.
So
You're watching. Oh, no.
So this is going to be bad.
It's nothing but laughter.
I know. But this is good. I feel like the world gets to see who we actually are in real life.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this is the Loyal and Assertive Podcast. We are Jay and Megan. We are Jay and Megan. And we are here with more love.
Yes.
So we're going to put their little thing down about it to make sure they all watch their thing too, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
Please.
All right. So we are called the Loyal and Assertive Podcast. And that also matches our best friends. Would y'all
That's
like to
true.
tell them why that matches y'all?
Because I'm loyal.
And I'm definitely assertive.
Yes, she is. Come on, somebody.
So
Listen.
we have been talking about doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like now was the time. You know what I'm saying? 2023 is our year, huh?
Yes.
2023 is me, huh?
2020.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
I feel like the last time somebody claimed a year it was 2020. So
And then whoops.
Okay, no, dog. All right, so we are going to begin today with a segment that we call Wild Thoughts.
Okay.
And the wild thought for today is opposite sex friendships don't have to be sexualized. Who wants to start? I done hit the mic, Brandon. I'm sorry, this is going to be bad for the
Come
audio.
on.
It was my hat brim.
I'll start. I feel like I'll just start by saying what everybody has thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people think that if you are best friends with someone of the opposite sex, eventually it is going to become sexual because best friends are very vulnerable with one another.
That's
And
a
you're
good point.
sharing yourself, I guess, intimately with someone else, then obviously there's going to be feelings. And I'm like, but does it have to be that way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like we've all had our own journey with this because of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that there is a real way in which God meant for men and women to exist together, even beyond the boundaries of like marriage.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think because we do live in a very sexualized culture, I think it makes it difficult for people to even kind of conceive how that can be a thing.
Yep.
And the reality is, amongst the four of us, we've had to figure out how that is a thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I think ultimately, it takes a lot of maturity.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so.
But I also think that media doesn't help. Think about how many movies there are out there with the premise that they were best friends and fell in love and didn't even know. So I think some of it isn't just the over sexualizing. I think some of it is this is what media teaches us.
Yeah. Brandon, you have anything you want to say? Because I wanted to say something else.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I think that a big element of this is trust,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? So not the oven beeping.
Oven beeping. Real life.
So I think that that there has to be a trust between you. Let me zoom out a little bit. So we are married, but what about people who aren't married, right?
Right.
So there needs to be a trust between you and the other person that this relationship can actually exist in the friend space without feeling like the other person is going to sexualize
Right.
the relationship. I think in a marriage context, I think there's a lot of different angles of trust. So I think her and I have to have a certain level of trust with one another to allow her to relate to you, me to relate to her, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So why do you think so many people don't trust in that capacity?
So I will say this, and Brandon and I have talked about this on our channel as well. So,
Come on, plug.
Come on, Flo.
Yes.
but I will say, so I feel like when people are like about to get married, they bring in like their best friends or whatever the case may be, and they don't communicate with their spouse. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't say, hey, this is such and such, this is my best friend, yada, yada, yada. It's like they separate the worlds. And so, for instance, if I have a male best friend, I'm not bringing him around my husband. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and my husband and then me and my best friend, and it's separate. And so my husband's like, who's dude? Right. Oh, he's my best friend. And then if I ever get into an argument with Brandon, I'm running to my best friend, and then it's like this I guess weird dichotomy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Come on, big word.
You know. And I think that it can definitely create animosity between my best friend, my husband, like all that stuff, because there's like a separation instead of bringing it together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the whole marriage part of it.
It was her.
What are we doing right now?
Because I know what she's laughing at.
I do too. I'm like, would you just be professional and just move on?
No.
So this is how it's gonna be.
It was the you moving on. That's what made me laugh.
You know what's even funnier?
What's that?
This is what she does.
Yes.
It was like looking at her, but in a black man body. So sorry.
What I was gonna say is when it comes to like the way I think culture looks at stuff, like I think you said, Jay, is definitely kind of going off of like movies, music, basically like what are the writers and Hollywood saying? You're not actually just looking at what's in front of you and just being honest and mature about it. I think for us, one of the things that works is we were already married when we started really opening up and being mature and really trying to establish what we have going on.
Yeah.
And I think what makes this work in the many connections that we have is that we had a lot of connections with the four of us, like lots of conversations. Like we did that a lot before there was the breaking off.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think what it is there's respect.
Absolutely.
There's respect for the married relationship. There's
Yeah.
respect for the friend relationship. There's
Right.
just a mutual respect all around, which I think, Sheree, you were alluding to. There's a lack of respect when you're like breaking off.
Absolutely.
And having, those conversations and not allowing your spouse to be a part of that. But I think if you can have respect to say, hey, like, I want to be a part of this. You can trust me. Or even respect to say, like, shut up.
Wait.
Are we gonna get through this?
Did you just swallow? Is that what it was? Is that what it was?
I'm out.
Is that what it was? Okay. I just want to make sure I understand what it is. How much cutting are you doing?
This is actually a great place to pause because I realized I didn't actually press record.
No. What?
It's okay.
Oh, on the.
Oh, that's
phone.
hilarious.
So we're just gonna get this angle here.
That's fine.
There we go.
He said, I realized I didn't press record on this.
Like, so hi.
But here's the thing. You already
Jay.
know I appreciate that you are willing to stop and start it as opposed to just going, well, it's no big deal. No,
No.
start it.
No, my brain wasn't going to let it go.
Even if half of the time or something, shoot, I'll start over.
All right.
Hi, I'm Brandon. And these are the temptations.
Not these.
So part of what I want to talk about, y'all probably just seen us have like a clip in the episode, but here we are.
Right.
Part of what I want to talk about, Brandon, you said that there was a lot of conversation that happened. Mm-hmm. I feel like it could be helpful for us to share said conversations, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. I can tell you right off the bat.
I told them we ain't swingers.
No, we're not. And
not
again,
even
because people
close.
feel like, oh, y'all that close, y'all that
For
close.
sure,
for
No,
sure.
Something's happening. No.
I think this kind of goes like we intersect at a particular point in life where we were talking on our channel about marriage community because I think y'all felt the same way that we have been feeling for years, which is we aren't seeing eye to eye on particular things and it's just my side and her side. There's no third party. We didn't go to counseling or anything. Nothing wrong with counseling, but we just didn't go.
Yeah.
And so we don't feel like we have anyone to talk to provide a non-biased perspective on our marriage. People that we trust. Someone that we trust that can say, hey, I know you and I love you, but you're tripping. Like we didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so we actually provided that for each other. And so once we kind of saw that we had that, I think all of us were kind of like, yo, I don't want to let that go. Because you kind of had my back last time.
Stop it.
And vice versa.
But I think the thing that makes this thing work, I want to kind of back up to like
Don't back it from the mic though.
My bad. So before we even get to like us existing together as couples, I think that there is a mutual love and respect that we have for each other as individuals that I think colors and governs how we relate to each other in this relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I love Brandon as I'm gonna say it like a Marylander, a Baltimorean, a brother. You know what I'm saying?
How many visas?
I love Sheree as my sister, and I obviously love my wife. Well, not obviously, because some dudes don't be loving their wives, so I'm just gonna leave
That's
it
a
there.
whole different.
Don't preach a whole sermon now.
But I do, like, I love y'all as individuals, and then I love y'all as a couple, and I really care about the health and the well-being of your relationship. Yeah. And I'm never going to do anything to try to compromise that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I do think that, just as a tip, I think if there is a way in which I'm done.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Come on.
Sorry.
As I heard it come out my mouth, I knew what was going to
so
happen.
hard to hold it in.
I was going to say I knew it was coming, but I can't say it.
I'll bet you did. I was trying so hard. I coughed. I was like, it's over. It's over. He's going to hear it.
I'm married to a toddler.
Don't act like
I'm going to say, as a relationship hack, I do think it is necessary to have an individual love and respect for the people that you're in a relationship with. Agreed. Because I think then that gives you a love and respect for the couple. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that we have been developing this relationship for years at this point.
Right.
And so we are kind of in a different place than most people are probably going to begin. But there's a lot of things that we've done to try to make sure that we facilitate that this doesn't become anything other than what it should be. Right. And a part of that conversation is hard conversations. You know what I'm saying? So let's sit down and say, what are y'all boundaries as a couple for us? What are our boundaries with y'all as a couple for us? Like, what are we comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? And having that conversation. You know what I'm saying? What you looking?
Do we have boundaries?
Yeah, I think we do.
I mean, I think, I don't know that we've spoken the boundaries. I think we kind of, like, we're so close that we kind of know. You know, I'm not saying that we can't speak them. I'm just saying we are mature and smart enough to know what some of the obvious boundaries are.
Yeah.
I think for us, if I had to add anything like obvious, I was like, get it out. Okay.
I hate y'all.
Are you ready? We're gonna jump in.
Both of y'all.
Okay. I think for us, anything that's more obvious is like just respect of time. We always want to hang out, but sometimes for us, we need the time to ourselves. Like we'll say like, hey, like we're not hanging out this week, and vice versa, or we just don't hear from each other because it's like, hey, don't say nothing because we really, you know. So sometimes for us, the boundary is we as a married couple need space to work on us because the weekend, you know, we're all busy throughout the week. So the weekend becomes a time of whatever, you know, whether it's fun or building or doing the work or whatever it is in the marriage. There are times where we have Friday nights or Saturdays where we kind of just need that. And I feel like we respect that boundary for each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what I was saying was more so, I think because there is kind of an intuitiveness about how we all do this. Yeah. For y'all though, you might have to have some conversations.
Right.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to.
So one of the things I would say is, as far as boundaries are concerned, and I think I told all of you guys this, is one of the things that Brandon and I don't do is we don't bring up issues or problems or anything in this group that we haven't talked about first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
No
I think that
blindsiding. No blindsiding.
Exactly. And I think that keeps, whether it's as like together or even if Brandon's like, hey, I need to talk to Megan alone, like it's something that he's already brought to my attention and maybe we just can't see eye to eye on. And then he's like, okay, I've talked to Sheree about this and maybe I'm coming about it the wrong way or whatever. I need a wife's opinion or whatever the case may be. And then another thing is we don't keep secret when we talk to one another. We always let each other know, like, hey, I'm talking to Jay, I'm talking to Megan, I'm talking to Brandon, Sheree, whatever the case may be. And I think that just the transparency keeps things just like right on the table.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah, I think I think the point of this was to really tell everybody that there is a real beauty and benefit to opposite sex relationships when they are not sexualized. You know what I mean? When they are not when there's like a line that's not being crossed. The beauty is men and women really are different. You know what I mean? And the way that we process as men and women is different. I think the beauty of this relationship is you have a man who's assertive and a woman who's assertive with a woman who's loyal and a man who's loyal. And we get to kind of pair off and be for each other something that our spouses can't be for us. Which, by the way, is a whole other conversation. Don't be out here don't be out here thinking your spouse about to be everything for you. That is literally impossible.
That literally is the whole conversation.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole podcast right there.
Because they not. So you can let that go.
On.
Next week on Lawyers. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I think to begin this conversation, it is saying, look at us. It is actually possible. You're not going to see us in 10 years and something done fell apart. That's not what it's going to be. We have done the work, as Brandon said, to make sure that this doesn't become anything other than what it is. And I think the other element that y'all don't get to see is we have 6 kids between the 4 of us. And we have an opportunity to show our kids that this is possible for them in their adulthood. That it doesn't have to be you're always attracted to somebody of the opposite sex. Actually, you could just have a friendship with them and it can be a really beneficial thing. So, any final thoughts on this here topic?
I would say there may be couples out there who don't have like what we have as far as I'm literally best friends with Megan and she's best friend with me, you know, Brandon and Jay are best friends, but there may be someone that has an opposite sex best friend that your spouse isn't best friends with their spouse. So I would just say one of the things that motivates me to want Brandon and Megan to have a best friend is I see how much she brings to the table. I see how much she can help my husband. You know what I'm saying? And to see the value in that allows me to want that relationship to work. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like even if your spouse isn't best friends with your best friend's spouse, as long as you're bringing everybody together so that everybody can see you benefit from this best friend.
Yep.
Right.
I see it's worth you having this best friend. It helps us.
Right.
It helps us.
Right.
And I think it'll help.
And I think, too, on the flip side of that as well, I feel like when you have a couple like you guys that's like, hey, I want y'all to work, then she and I can go off or you and I can go off and have conversations and your whole demeanor, even if I wanted to say, yo, trip it, like you'll still ground me and like, but y'all got to find a way to work, bro. Like,
okay, because that's the thing. We will even fight. So Megan and I are married, but I'm a fight for their marriage too.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm never gonna let my brother be out here like doing anything that is gonna sabotage the good gift that God has given him in his marriage. And the same thing for my sister. Like I'm never gonna let that happen.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah.
That you actually, so you said you used the words marriage community.
Yeah.
You need people who gonna fight for your marriage like you.
Yes. And
You understand what I'm
even
saying?
sometimes more than your friends.
Yes, because
sometimes
you
we're gonna be
get tired.
weak and we
Yep.
can't.
come on, somebody.
Yes. And so I think that there is I keep saying this, but I think that there's a real benefit to community. It really is the way that God meant the world to work. You know what I mean? It just is.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think this is good. I think we're going to have to at least do another episode like this. We can really get into a lot more details of what this can look like. But we want y'all to know that it actually can happen and it really can work. You know what I'm saying? All right, moving on to trending topics.
Okay.
New York is sinking.
I'm sorry, what?
What? I cannot.
Are you saying like sinking
Like
deep in sin?
this?
I was sinking deep in sin.
No.
Okay. See, that's that assertiveness that be getting. I'm not gonna say
Like
nothing.
what you ain't going to do is sing on this podcast.
What you ain't gonna do is tell me what to do. That's what you're not gonna do.
New York City is actually sinking. They're studying, and the city itself.
Is it too many people?
No, so
That
it's
sounds like
it's people
that sounds
and
pretty
buildings.
practical.
So the research here.
Oh,
What?
They have more than 1 million buildings. They amass nearly 1.7 trillion pounds.
Oh my!
Crazy.
Is it because they're mostly an island? And
Yes.
So
yeah.
Wow.
But so they say it's only about 1 to 2 millimeters a year.
Wow.
So,
who's measuring this?
Right. Who has the time, bro? What are you doing?
And how is it affecting steps? Like, are you going to go step outside and one day just go down a little bit?
Y'all ever seen those videos on Facebook where they put styrofoam into the cement to raise it up?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, they're going to have to do that the whole New York.
Just get those guys for the whole city.
So they're saying over the last 10 years, it has sunk 10 millimeters, and someone is out there checking it.
Literally. First off, how many millimeters is in an inch? Do you know, Megan?
That's the girl.
It's 2.5 centimeters an inch, I think.
That's not helpful.
I need inches.
So, but there's 1,000 millimeters in a centimeter. So is that like 0.25 maybe?
That is outrageous to be calculating this.
So while you're calculating that,
There's 16 millimeters in an inch.
okay, and it's 2 millimeters per year.
Yeah.
That says
So-
milliliter, not millimeter.
Why are you in milliliters?
Wow, my bad.
Thirsty?
Shut
So I remember seeing an article that was talking about a building in New York that was also
25.4. I had the numbers right. I had the decimal point wrong.
so in New York. There's also buildings that they talk about that are, because of the sinking, are actually leaning. And they say I'm not joking. You can look it up. There are buildings in New York that are actually leaning. And so my thing is, that's now public knowledge. If I work there, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Like,
So that's what I was going to ask you. Yes, thank you for saying
I
this.
don't know why we're still working here. So the elevator that was going up is kind of going like what are we?
But for how much? It's like
So they
just
were
a
saying
little
like in
bit.
like 10 to 20 years, it's gonna be a whole like several inches leaning, and so they're gonna have to do. They like, we have time. I'm still putting in my 2 weeks. Y'all tell me when it's finished, and then I'll come back. But the building is basically like you can't tell by looking at it, but over time it's gonna start leaning.
Because people aren't going to stop moving to New York.
No.
People aren't going to stop having babies in New York. People aren't going to stop building in New York. So that 1 to 2 inches right now could
It
be
could
more.
double. Yeah.
They are projecting
Oh my gosh.
7.9 to 23.6 inches by 2050.
Well, half the people are not going to be here no more.
That's true.
We're going to be all the way.
Everybody's like, that's their problem.
Right.
That ain't my
They
problem.
gonna be underground. Who cares if New York is underwater? I'm in the ground.
It's the same
Crazy.
logic. You quit a job. Do you really clean your desk? No, that's somebody else's problem.
That's
is crazy, though.
absolutely insane. They were saying the same thing about California though, because of all the
Yep.
the what's the names, the earthquakes and stuff. They said that like California might break off.
Wait.
They were saying that for Florida too. That Florida was because it's a
Can you imagine?
peninsula.
Hold on. Can you imagine just like being at home?
All of a
Florida has
sudden,
broken off. Breaking
California
news.
is an island.
And then you just out in the ocean.
Right.
They're
What
going
if-
to create a bridge.
What if you on the border and you see the break and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, look at
Apparently, this is like a real threat to all coastal cities.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's
yes.
crazy.
Yo,
But I mean, like, going by that math, in 30 years, it could be 2 feet. Like, that's
Now
a
that
lot.
is significant, actually.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
but then part of me, part my brain. I'm
Brandon,
just
like bigger beaches. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
but my thing is that like I feel like, is this new? Like, is this like how long?
Yeah.
I feel like y'all they knew this in the 80s, like when all of
Probably.
other buildings got built. It was I'm sure it was a thing. And then they
So,
just like,
are you moving to New York?
no, I'm not.
Or it was a bunch of developers like, yo, let's see if we can sink New York. Yeah.
Why? I
It's a
don't
conspiracy.
But
So
because
anyway.
they are building up. They're building up
Ain't
everywhere.
got nowhere else to build.
I hope you know on that first floor.
Just saying.
Lord, that's true.
Anywho, I just thought that was a very interesting
That's
topic
very
to-
interesting.
Very
to
interesting.
talk about. All right, let's do a little parenting hack.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all ready?
Okay.
Yep.
Tell your kids how you experience them.
Ooh.
So here's what I mean. Kids are faithful to tell you how they experience you.
Always.
You
From
hurt
the
my
time that they're
feelings.
babies.
Yeah, you hurt my feelings. You're being mean. And it's like, I think we need to normalize a culture where parents get to tell their kids what they experience from them too. Because the reality is parents are human. They're not just parents. So I had a conversation with one of my kids the other day who shall remain nameless. but said person has been denying me hugs.
Oh, okay. I'm sure we can guess which one.
And I said to said person, there's going to come a day that I'm going to ask for one, you're going to say no, and it's going to be the last time I'm going to ask for one. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on, like, how do y'all feel about telling your kids how you experience them? Obviously, I'm on board for doing it. But what do y'all think?
No, I'm absolutely on board for doing it, because I feel like one of the things that we want for our kids is we don't want them to experience that for the first time, like out in the world with some friend or classmate, and it's like, oh, no one's ever told me that I do that to them. It's like, nope, your parents have absolutely told you that this is how you are. You are selfish, or you are like we do that. Like, you need to know that. I don't want you getting surprised when you get a roommate in college and they tell you exactly who you are.
Yep.
I agree. I think that, and I think you guys have talked about this on your channel. We are honest with our kids, because I feel like no one else is going to be as honest with our children. And we're the ones who know them the most. So promoting like true honesty of like, I see how you're growing. I see who you're developing into. And God has given us our kids to steward them. If there's something that I'm experiencing and I don't tell them, like, how does it benefit them? Like, I need to tell you, because as you get older, if this is something that people eventually start to experience with you, and you, like Brandon said, and they've never been told, like, it's worse, because they'll be older and I'm trying to correct this behavior. Like, they can't do it. So the younger you are, the more honest we are with you. It's easier. At least you know, you've been hearing it for years. You know what I'm saying? So
I think for me,
real quick, I'm sure you can probably cut here. How long is the oven supposed to be?
I know. I was about to go look at
I was like, it's been like 20-something minutes so far. Nah, smoke.
Is there something in there?
Lord. Yeah.
it's chicken nuggets and fries.
Oh, okay.
How bad is it?
You want to? No, it's fine. You know what's funny? As we were recording, I was like, why do I smell chicken?
I know, because I thought that you were preheating, and I didn't know that it was like in there. Yeah.
My turn.
Yes, Megan was talking.
Go ahead.
So I think for me, I don't want to resent my kids. Like, I want to actually like my kids. And if I am continuously experiencing something from one or more of my children, I'm going to end up bitter. I'm going to end up not liking them.
And they will feel that.
Yes.
Exactly. And I want to have a great relationship with my kids in every season of life.
Yes.
So when they're teenagers and when they're young adults and when they're, moms and dads and all the things, I want to have a great relationship. And if that resentment isn't checked now, if I can't tell them now what I'm experiencing and we can work through it, then I'm afraid. I don't know about y'all, but I'm afraid I'm not going to like my kids.
No, I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
So the moral to this story is, tell y'all kids what you feel about them, just like they be telling you what they feel about you. If you're scared to do that, buck up, pal, and get it done.
Absolutely, because somebody's going to tell them.
Buck up.
It might as well be you. It's true.
Yeah.
Why do people say, all right, we're going to move on.
No tangents.
You know me. I'm like,
No
why
tangents.
do we say buck up? Where did that even come from? Anywho, this has been the Loyal Minnesota podcast. Thank y'all so much for joining us. How did y'all feel about this?
I love it.
Feels great.
Are we going to do this again?
Wait. What did she say?
No,
Feels
it was
great.
you.
Feels great.
Feels great. Feels amazing.
I'm done.
Are we stopping?
Yes, we wow.
I never wanted to stop.
Oh my Lord. Okay, bye guys. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Goodbye.
What is wrong with you?
The thing says the camera temperature has risen. Stop shooting the viewers.